Welcome back to the channel. We're back with our commander deck profile. Today with Mabel, Heir to Cragflame. For 3 mana, you get 3/3. That gets Utter Mice +1/+1. And when Mabel, Heir to Cragflame enters, create Cragflame. A legendary colorless equipment artifact token with equipped creature is +1/+1, Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. So we have plenty of ways to get extra artifact synergies here in this deck, along with extra mouse synergies and as many mice as we could find. This was one that was requested by one of my friends, so we're covering here on the channel. And if you guys have any decks that you guys want covered, make sure you leave it down there in the comment section so we know what commander to cover next. But let's get into it card by card. Start off, we have Arcane Signet for a little bit of mana. We are in Boros, so we'll take what we can get. Banner of Kinship, we're going to be getting plenty of mice onto the battlefield, and mice start off pretty weak, so rather than just getting a +1/+1 off Mabel, let's get +X/+X, where X is the number of mice we control at a time we cast the spell. Plenty of mice have abilities that happen when you target them with an ability, so equipping them with a spell does count as equipping as an ability being used on that. So this does help them out a whole bunch there in order to get that extra equipment synergies by having extra equipment on them. Boros Signet for a little bit of extra mana. Colossus Hammer. Mice start off quite small, such as this little guy. So let's find ways to give them a big stat boost while we're at it. Diamond Pickaxe. It's indestructible, so it can't be removed, unlike most of your equipment, so you are quite weak to Vandal Blast. Equipped creature is +1/+1 and has whenever this creature attacks, create a treasure token. You don't need to deal damage with this one, you just need to attack. With getting the haste with Mabel and some other spells that we'll get to a little bit later, it allows you to get some treasure tokens pretty easily off with this deck. Felwar Stone for some additional mana. Herald's Horn. Whenever it enters, choose a creature type. You're going to be choosing Mouse. Creature spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, reveal it, put it into your hand. You can get all of your mice into your hand, so you have more mice to cast with a bigger stat line you got. Lightning Grease, another way to give our creatures haste, because we can't have Cragflame on everyone. Let's just give them something else. Maskwood Nexus, there aren't that many mice in the game, is the only downside. So let's find another way to make everything into a mouse, along with creating some more 2/2 blue mouse creature tokens with Changeling. Mind Stone for some additional mana. Patchwork Banner for some additional mana, along with giving our mice an additional +1 on top of Mabel's +1/+1. Soul Ring for extra mana, Sun Forger, +4/+0, so an additional stat boost, but also pay 2 to unattach Sun Forger, search your library for red or white instant card with CMC 4 or less, cast that card without paying its mana cost, then shuffle your library. A free spell could be super helpful, and in total it would cost 3 to equip, 2 to cast it, so that's 5 total. Every time you want to do it, but 2 to recast it, so 8 total if you count the initial casting cost. All to get, maybe like Might of the Meek or something. Swiftfoot Boots give your creatures haste once again, because we want to make sure we can attack the turn they come down, and also a low equip cost in order to make sure we can keep equipping things in order to get that target ability off with some creatures. Anyone who plays Standard knows what mice like to do. Talisman Conviction for some additional mana. Vanquisher's Banner for some additional stat boost, along with some additional draw power anytime we cast a mouse spell. Akiri, Fearless Voyager. Whenever you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, draw a card. There's plenty of draw power. And 1 mana to unattach equipment from a creature you control. Tap that creature, it gains indestructible end of turn. Allowing us, just some additional ways to benefit off of having those equipments on our creatures, and another way to target something with our cards that'll benefit off that. Arden, Intrepid Archaeologist, actually. 3 mana for 2/2 at the beginning of combat on your turn. May attach an equipment you control to target permanent or player. You could also put that one that gets a gold every time you attack a player, but we don't have that in here, but you could. And that allows an easy way to get Colossus Hammer, Lightning Grease onto something. I don't know why I did Lightning Grease, because Lightning Grease is already equip cost at 0. Armory Mice. Armory Mice is +0/+2 as long as you control 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Whether it be 2 creatures, 2 artifacts, whatever you need. It could be a 3/3 for only 2 mana. Well, 2 mana plus 1 mana for Basilisk Collar, I guess. But will essentially be a 4/4 plus whatever other stat boost it gets. Bloodline Pretender, like I said, not many mice exist in the game quite yet. So we'll take some changelings. It gets additional power every time another creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield. Okay, the more mice, the more power. The more power on this creature too. Bramble Guard Captain. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets plus X plus 0 until end turn, where X is Bramble Guard Captain's power. So potentially 3 if we just have Mabel, but if we get the plus 10 onto it, that could be 2 13/13, so we have swinging at opponent. Bravekin Duo. 1 mana, target creature you control gets +1/+1 till end of turn. And it only is a sorcery, so it is not that great. But and also taps it, so it's really not that great. But it's only 1 mana, and it's an extra mouse on the battlefield. Brunor Battlehammer. You may pay 0 rather than the equip cost of the first equip ability you activate each turn. Probably going to be Colossus Hammer. Each creature you control gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to it. AKA Cragflame now gets +3/+1, and it doesn't cost anything to equip. I'll take that deal. Canyon Jeroba. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. Like I said, we need as many stat boosts as we can get with this deck, because swinging in is our main way of winning, especially giving things trample with the Mabel. Where was I? Emberheart Challenger. Haste, Prowess, so it gets an additional bonus anytime we cast one of our artifacts, or one of our instant sorceries. And whenever he gets a target of a spell or ability, aka whether it be equipping or, one of our instant sorceries we'll get to later, you get to exile top card of your deck and you play that until the end of his turn. Following that, we have Flowerfoot Swordmaster. Offspring 2, allow us to get 2 of them onto the battlefield. That'll be even more mice that we'll really need. Whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or ability you control, first time each turn, mice you control get +1/+0 to end of turn, making those mice even stronger. We get potentially +2/+0 if we had targeted both of them. Hardfire Hero, another spell creature that keeps getting more powerful the more times you target it. Only once each turn, but it gets the +1/+1 counters, and when it does get removed, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. We like to see it. Some way to win the game other than combat damage. Irregular, and it's also during each turn. Alright? First time each turn, so not just during your turn, but like say if you have a way to target during your opponent's turn, which we'll get to in our instance, it could get that +1/+1 counter down as well. Irregular Cohort, 4 mana for a 2/2. Whenever it enters battlefield, get a 2/2 mouse, essentially, giving us additional mice in order to get the additional stat boost. Manifold Mouse, it's 4 mana for a 1/2 and a 1/1. That one of them will give your creatures double strike, the other one will give it trample. You could also separate those so they give 2 different things double strike or 2 different things trample. But you can tend to put it all into one creature, whether it be what you have equipped with everything, or something that you want to swing in. Mirror Entity for another changeling. And until you pay X until end turn, creatures control a base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types, making everything into a mouse, and also making it so that we could deal even more damage to our opponents, because that's just the base power. That doesn't count what we have for Colossus Hammer. Mouse Trapper. Another mouse becomes a target spell or ability, which we'll be doing anytime we equip it, or with any of our instants that we'll be getting to later. Tap target creature and opponent controls, allowing us to swing in a little bit easier. Nettle Guard. Sacrifice it, destroy target artifact or enchantment, or give it +0/+2 anytime it's targeted. Passive Honor, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, play a +1/+1 counter onto this creature. So it'll already be 3/3 for 3 mana if you have Mabel on the battlefield, but it keeps getting stronger and stronger. Raccoon Rallier, it has a tap ability that gives a creature haste, allowing our mice to swing the turn they come in, but also just another way to target stuff in our deck, which we like to see. Raging Battle Mouse, second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. That's pretty useful. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. There's a stark difference between like the Wilds of Eldraine mice and the Bloomburrow mice, I've noticed. But it's only 2 mana, and it's a good cost reduction there. Rayav Mastersmith, creatures you control, enchanted or equipped, attacks, it gets double strike till end turn. It's only when it attacks, unfortunately, and they already had, and but it does give them the additional bonus with there with the trample. Roughshod Duo, another mouse, right? Yep, I already did that one. Another mouse, whenever you expend 4, target creature gets +1/+1 and trample to end turn. So another way to target something, another way to get something trample, another way to deal some damage. Seedglaive Mentor, Vigilance Haste. Whenever it becomes a target of spell or ability for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it already starts as a 3/2 with Vigilance and Haste, and he'll probably target it with a Cragflame, making it into a 5/4. Just right off the bat. And then he'll probably have Mabel, so it'll be a 6/4 for 3 mana. Like, well, 5 mana essentially. SRAM, Senior Edificer, a little bit of extra draw power anytime you cast a artifact spell, which we've been doing a lot with our equipments. I just realized I forgot to put Cloud in this deck. He'd be really useful. Steelbird Champion, 2 mana. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, put +1/+1 counter onto this creature. So that'll be 2 things that keep getting more and more powerful because it'll probably play the Offspring cost with this. Tori Mauler, another changeling, so another mouse, keeps getting stronger the more spells your opponents cast. Thistle down players, attacks, untapped target non-land permanent. It's another way to target something, so another benefit there, and it is a mouse while we're at it. Universal Automaton, just a 1/1 changeling for 1, but it's basically a mouse, so it'll be a 2/2. If we have Mabel on the battlefield, Valley Quest Caller. Whenever one or more other rabbits, birds, mice you control enters, scry 1, and other rabbits, birds, mice, aka mice, get +1/+1, giving us the extra stat boost that we need. Veteran Guard Mouse becomes a target spell or ability control for the first time each turn, gets +1/+0 to end turn, along with First Strike and scry 1, allowing us a little bit of scry and a little bit of damage. Whisker Quill Scribe becomes a target spell or ability, which we like doing. Draw a card, discard a card. Well, discard a card, then draw a card. And then Whiskervale Forerunner. Whenever he becomes a target spell or ability control for a first time each turn, look at the top 5, reveal something with mana value 3 or less from among them, put it onto the battlefield, aka almost everything in this deck. That's a creature. On to the enchantments. We have a couple auras because those also count as equipping targeting something. So Blacksmith's Talent, which will allow us to equip something for free every turn, along with giving us a sword, something to equip onto our stuff, and then Feather of Flight, which, like I said, gets something flying and it counts as a way to target something. On to the next half of the deck. We have Chaos Warp for a little bit of temporary removal while we give our opponent their best thing out of their deck. Crumb and Get It, a way to target something along with giving it indestructible. Generous Gift for some removal. Mabel's Medal, target 2 different creatures, giving them those target abilities along with some additional stats. Might of the Meek, trample until end of turn. If it's a mouse, it also gets +1/+0, and you get to draw a card. Way to target something while we're at it. Parting Guest, you blink a creature, or you can remove something. Path to Exile, a little bit of removal there. Rabid Gnaw, another way to target something, along with a way to get rid of one of your opponent's creatures without having to fight it. Sazakap's Brew, some extra draw power, and another way to target your stuff. And Source Plowshare for that removal while we're at it. And for our sorcerers, we have Austere Command for for a board wipe. Cheeky House Mouse for another mouse. Target creature control is +1/+1 till end turn, can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. And it's just a 2/1 mouse otherwise, for only 1 mana. Drop Cure, for a little bit of recursion of our weaker stuff. And Playful Shove, 1 damage to any target, so it could be your own stuff, or it could be your opponent's like 2/1 that we really need to get out of the way. And a little bit of draw power. And then of course we have some lands. This whole deck comes in at just over $100, so yeah, hope you guys, oh, and sorry, Legion's Land Leadership, double target creatures power and also gains First Strike, allowing us some additional way to deal some additional damage. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do like it, make sure you like, comment, subscribe so you can stay tuned for future videos. And have a great rest of the day.